Don and I would load up the Volkswagen van, and there's a picture of that. I'm standing next to it, like, I'm holding on to it because, like, man, to lift all that stuff in there was pretty taxing. And Don snapped a picture of me next to this thing, and he says, okay, you're going to Pro Drum Shop. And they'd bought a dozen of them.
The seats, yeah.
The seats. And so I drive down there, you know, in the Volkswagen van, and I'm parking in the back of Pro Drum Shop, and I walk in, and there's Bob Yeager. And he's writing something, and he's not going to give me the time of day. Finally I said, excuse me, Mr. Yeager? And he looks at me and goes, what, kid? You know, like that. I'm like, oh, this isn't going to go well. I've got some seats in this van in the back. He goes, put them over there. So I carry them all in. Little did I know Don sent me there kind of like, well, he was busy and
we needed a check.
But this guy, and this guy was a tough guy. And so at the end, he's still writing something behind the counter. I don't think Stan and Jerry were really there yet.
No.
Anyway, so I hand him and it said on the bottom, COD. And he goes, COD? Do you know who I am? And I went, yes, sir. And he goes, I don't pay COD for anything. I've got credit that you wouldn't believe with Pearl Drums, Yamaha, all these drum companies, and they believe in me, and you're asking for this? And I just didn't know what to say, and I was shivering. I was so afraid. And the guy has got a pretty demanding voice, you know, God rest his soul. So he says, come into my office. So we walk into his office. I sit there like a 14-year-old kid with my voice breaking. Well, Mr. Yeager, can I go now? He says, here's your check. He says, and by the way, you and Lombardi, you're going to be just fine. And he shook my hand. But that was like combat, you know, and I drove away feeling really good about having some kind of approval from Bob Yeager, you know.
Well, I think he was approving the fact that we were the underdog, and he knew we were drummers trying to do the best we could for other drummers. And we weren't a business that was trying to sell them something. And they wanted us to succeed, as did the other 120 independent drum shops.
And they stand behind us today.
They completely stand behind us today, yeah. And we keep innovating and keep looking at things that filling the needs that they have too.